Hey everyone, good to see y'all. Welcome. This is really, I guess, the first format of a Facebook Live that I've done like this, but I have the great pleasure to introduce LeeAnn Davis here to the Forge family. So we are very excited to be beginning a Pilates stretch and stability class with her later in September. And so we're just gonna sit here today and chat a little bit, introduce LeeAnn to you, make sure that you know what to expect, and hopefully you'll have a chance to decide if it's something that you would like to join us for in September when we begin. So again, I'm Elena. Good to see everybody. But with that being said, LeeAnn, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, hey guys. My name is LeeAnn Davis, and I am a Pilates instructor. I'm also a breast cancer survivor. So I was diagnosed 12 years ago at the age of 32. And right now, well, we live in Homewood. I've got 4 kids. Just got a new puppy this weekend, so life is a little crazy and busy right now. But like I said, we live in Homewood. I became a Pilates instructor a couple years ago, and love it. It's kind of become my new passion, and excited about getting to share that with all of y'all.
So LeeAnn, tell us kind of what sparked your interest in Pilates, and not only, I guess, learning Pilates and participating yourself, but then becoming an instructor.
Yeah, so I was introduced to Pilates just a couple of years ago. It's not something that I was doing, have been doing forever. And so really after my breast cancer journey, I just really struggled with finding something that I could do on a regular basis. And so I'd always kind of been an active person and just really felt like some different exercise modalities either felt too intimidating or just didn't feel right for my body after, going through bilateral mastectomy and multiple, reconstructive surgeries and radiation and just some of the loss of strength and range of motion and just some, lymphedema issues that I had during radiation. I'm always really kind of careful about that with what I do as far as exercise wise. And so just really struggled and just kind of was at a loss with how I could regain the strength, and it just felt like a really frustrating process for about a decade. And then I actually had another surgery not related to breast cancer a couple of years ago, and was in the recovery phase after that, and someone tagged me on an Instagram post. It was for a Pilates studio that was near my house, and they were doing like a 1 free month giveaway, and I thought, wow, this is cool. I'd heard about Pilates. I didn't really know what it was, but I was interested, and it kind of sparked my interest, and I immediately went online and was like, wow, this is just a few blocks from my house, and I just felt immediately drawn to it. And so I scheduled a private session because I didn't really want to jump into the group thing right away. Just kind of, I had just been through this other surgery and kind of wanted to learn it one-on-one. And so really immediately that first session, I was just hooked. I just felt like, gosh, this feels like something I could do for the rest of my life because it's gentle on your joints. You feel like you're getting stronger as you're also getting more flexible, and that's really what it is. Pilates focuses on strength, stability, mobility, flexibility, balance. It's focusing on all of these different things at one time, and so it's this whole body approach, and I fell in love with it. And so for me, I felt like it was a God thing. I immediately was like, I want to become an instructor. I want to share this with other people. And like I said, it's become this passion of mine, and just really want to share it. Wanted to learn it myself so I could share it with others.
It's really nice to hear also, and I hope that anyone who is watching this now or will watch this video later, it's easy, I think, to be intimidated, right?
Yes,
but the idea of Pilates or yoga,
right.
I need to look a certain way, I need to already be active enough to participate, but it really sounds like it's an opportunity to start where you are, kind of how your body's feeling, and kind of grow and build from there.
Absolutely, and that's the great thing that I love about it is because there's not a certain standard. When it's going through the instructor training, I mean, with every single exercise, there's at least a dozen or more ways to modify the exercise. So you're like, this person's here, how can we modify it so that it works with their body? And so that's what I loved about it, because I felt like going into all these other things, like, well, I have these, maybe issues or areas where I'm not as strong or this, and I always was looking for ways to how can I modify it to work for me. And so that's the great thing about Pilates, is that it's so accessible. I've worked with people in their 90s, and then I've worked with pro athletes, and so there's such a huge range. It's beneficial really for any kind of, everybody, and any kind of body type and everything. It's because you can modify it in so many ways.
What about kind of Pilates and breast cancer in particular? So kind of how do you see this being a useful tool for someone who's been diagnosed, either recently diagnosed, or maybe they've had breast cancer 10, 20, 30 years ago? How do you think Pilates can be helpful to start now?
Yeah, well, Pilates is it's such a great modality, and it's, so many physical therapy offices are incorporating it into their programs, and actually every single instructor training class that I went to, for every apparatus, mat, reformer, there's different other apparatuses called Cadillac and chair and barrels. Every single class that I did, there were physical therapists in those classes learning these same exercises, because, if you think about whatever kind of surgery or injury that a physical therapy might be addressing, Pilates can help with that recovery. And so it kind of is the same thing with breast cancer. After you've had, surgery or radiation, and you're left with these areas of the body that might be, less range of motion, or you've lost strength in that area, or there's internal scarring that's kind of preventing that limb, or your shoulder or the chest is tight. So it's a great way, like I just mentioned, we're working on flexibility, we're working on strength, we're working on opening up the chest as we're stabilizing the scapula, the shoulder, which is the shoulder blade, and strengthening the arm. And so with these exercises, you're working on all of those things, within a session, or, at the same time, working on multiple things within a certain exercise that can address those things. So, yeah.
Cool. So as you mentioned, right, there are different types of Pilates, or different tools and equipment and stuff that you can use. And so obviously the class that we're going to do monthly with LeeAnn starting in September will be here at the Fort House, actually in this room. And so it'll be kind of mat and chair based.
Just mat and chair, yes.
So what can folks expect from the stretch and stability class that we're going to offer here at Forge?
Yeah, so stretch, I think most people are familiar with the term stretch, stretching, increasing flexibility. But then I think a lot of people, or I know I did it, the term stability, as far as your body, was a kind of a new concept to me. And so with Pilates, it's bringing a lot of body awareness and kind of understanding how your body moves, and so with Pilates and a lot of exercises, you're stabilizing one part of the body as you're moving and strengthening another part of the body. And so it's kind of, a lot of body awareness, learning about the body. We're definitely going to be working on the flexibility part, the stretch, kind of just everybody feels better after they stretch. And, we all sit in cars all day, or we're watching, TV at night, or we're sitting in a chair working. And so we're all kind of in this hunched over flex position, especially after breast cancer, depending on what type of surgery or radiation you've had. So many women just get so tight across the chest, and you don't even really notice it, and your shoulders begin to pull forward, and you just become stuck in that position. And so really opening up through the chest, strengthening the upper back is so important to get that chest open, because as the front gets tighter, the back kind of stretches out, and it's not as supportive. You kind of lose that strength. So, strengthening the upper back, opening up through the chest, learning how to stabilize through the shoulder girdle is really important. it's a concept, I didn't know this until I learned about Pilates, but, stabilizing the shoulder girdle, or when you're working on lower body, learning how to stabilize through the pelvis, and as you're working the legs. So just kind of bringing that body awareness, it's all going to be very gentle, and I want to make it something that's accessible for everybody. And so it's going to be, I hope that people can just feel better when they leave, feel like they're a little bit stronger, but also more flexible, and just feel better in their bodies.
I'm even watching my cell phone video saying, I need to adjust my posture some. I could use some Pilates.
Yeah.
All right, so I know that, again, someone could have just had surgery and learned about this class starting. Maybe someone is in the middle of chemo or radiation, or recovering from treatment, again, 10, 15, 20 years out. Do participants need to kind of check with their doctors before they start anything like this?
Yeah, I would say if you are under, if it's been less than 6 to 8 weeks since you had surgery, definitely check in with your doctor. If there are any just major concerns about, moving in general, definitely check in with your doctor. But I think for the general population of survivors, if you're already kind of moving and you've had your follow-up appointment after surgery and stuff, I think that you'll be okay. But definitely, I think if there's any concern about it at all, definitely check with your doctor.
Let's see. So one thing I did want to say for anyone who is watching live, if y'all have any questions, feel free and type them there and let us know. We're happy to answer some. I've got a list that we're going through right now, but if you have any, let us know. But so the Forge class, right, that we will be starting on September 13th. So it's going to be offered in a hybrid format. Right, so people can come in person and be with LeeAnn and be with each other and hang out at the Forge House and all of the goodies there. We're kind of limited in the space that we have, so make sure that you register, and we'll make sure you have that information as well. But it's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, so there may be people who want to join. Maybe you just finished cooking dinner for your kids and you want to hop online. Maybe you just finished work. Maybe you just need to tune in from home. Traffic's bad, kind of whatever it is. But we'll all be together, right, in this fun hybrid world that COVID created for us. But so for folks in person here at Forge will provide a yoga mat and a block and a chair for you to have everything that you need. If you have something special that you'd like to bring with you, you're more than welcome to. But anything that you need for the class, we will provide here. But LeeAnn, for someone who's going to end up joining from home, kind of what space do they need to be in? What things do they need to make sure that they have with them?
Yeah, just a space large enough to put a yoga mat down. Definitely, you can do it on a carpeted surface. If you are on a hardwood floor or a harder floor, I would say a yoga mat would be nice. It would be pretty essential to have. And then a yoga block. You could also use maybe a rolled up towel. And so especially too, if you're lying on your side or your back and that feels uncomfortable, something to place under your head, a small pillow or a rolled up towel, and then the yoga block. So for now, I think later we might incorporate maybe a TheraBand, something like that. But to get started, we're just going to start with the yoga block.
I believe sometimes I have used an Amazon box in place of a yoga mat. So you can make it work with whatever it is that you need. I just want to say that this class is definitely going to be an introduction to Pilates. As LeeAnn mentioned, that there are a lot of different ways you can go to Pilates studios around town. I'm sure you can find videos online that are going to push you and use different tools and everything like that. But this is definitely just an introduction. We're offering it monthly for right now, hoping to build interest and kind of see where that goes from there. But LeeAnn, I know that you teach in town. Yeah. There are other ways in which someone could learn from you, right, or be able to take Pilates more frequently. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about those ways.
Yeah, definitely. So I do have a small studio space behind my house, and I have 2 reformers and a chair and room for a mat. So we do, mat, chair, reformer Pilates. From there, I can see up to 2 people at a time. And then I teach at some larger studios. I teach at a larger studio in Homewood. And then I'm also teaching at Therapy South in Homewood. And we're also getting really excited. We're launching the Pink Ribbon program at Therapy South, and it's a Pilates-based program specific for breast cancer survivors. It's an 8-week program. It's got 4 kind of levels within the program. Each level is 2 weeks, with each week kind of building upon the last. And so really at the beginning, phase 1, we're just trying to open up through the chest, trying to regain some range of motion. And then we start to add in some strengthening elements through the upper body, through the core, through the upper back as it progresses. And just really trying to, increase, like I said, range of motion, strength. Sometimes people are left with frozen shoulder or, neck pain and upper back pain. And so getting people to a more comfortable space, especially after surgery, or this could be done like during chemo and radiation, to help prevent some of that internal scarring that can occur with radiation, and then definitely after surgery. And so anyway, it's called the Pink Ribbon Program. It's an internationally based Pilates program just specific for breast cancer survivors, and it's been around for like 20 years, and we're super excited to be able to offer that for women, because like I said, I struggled for a decade with just really feeling lost on, I need to be able to pick up my kids, but my arm is too weak, and having to always carry groceries on with my left hand, but then my left shoulder, I got tendonitis because I was overusing it. And so just trying to, improve quality of life. And there's so many benefits, so many studies showing that, exercise can help with fatigue, especially during cancer treatment. It can help with depression, anxiety, just moving the body. And so anyway, we're super excited to be able to offer that to breast cancer survivors. And it's kind of, I feel like my dream becoming fulfilled because I wanted to get into Pilates, and my initial reaction was like, gosh, I want to share this with other women. This has been so powerful for me, and I want to give that gift back to other women that have gone through this, and just kind of say, look, you can rebuild your life, you can rebuild your body, and cancer is so depleting. I feel like all of the things that your body has to go through, but this is like a choice you can make to say, I want to give back to my body and just kind of rebuild, and I think it's beneficial and great for everybody.
Well, I think, we're hoping that the monthly class that we're going to offer here at Forge is kind of a non-intimidating place to start.
Absolutely.
Yes. You'll get to see LeeAnn, you'll get to meet LeeAnn, or you'll join by Zoom and be able to see her virtually, and then kind of get comfortable with some of the ideas, the terminology, the movements.
Yeah.
And so if you're not the type of person who wants to jump into an 8-week program, bam, bam, then maybe this is a good place to start. And again, be able to connect with others who have maybe been through similar things, and then find these tools that can be really helpful, for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the questions that I had for LeeAnn for this is whether we could demonstrate anything in this video. And we don't have a whole lot of room with the way that we're set up, but maybe kind of talk through about some of the moves that maybe we could expect.
Yeah, so kind of one of the core elements of Pilates is moving the spine in different ways. And so we talked about, I touched on this a minute ago with the flexion. So we're always kind of sitting rounded. And so that's one of the ways our spine moves, is this rounding position. This is called flexion. And so the opposite of that would be extension, where you're kind of creating a small arch, and the other way extension. But we also can have, it's called rotation. So this rotation in the spine, which we do, if you think about on your daily life, you're turning, you're twisting, you might be turning in your car to look behind you. And so finding that rotation. But we have found that after women go through treatment for breast cancer, with some of the internal scarring that can happen, the rib cage can kind of get locked down. And so some people kind of lose that range of motion. So working gently, on that rotation through, it's called the thoracic spine, that middle part of your spine. We also have the fourth way that our spine moves is called lateral rotation. And so that's kind of like a side bend to the right and left. And so kind of working through that, you know, whether you're in a chair or sitting on the floor and doing some different lateral rotation or lateral flexion. And so those are just a couple of ways. Also just kind of working on, you know, range of motion through the arm, getting the chest to open up, talking about the scapula, which are your shoulder blades on your back. And so the shoulder blades actually float on the back rib cage. They're only attached at the clavicle. So the shoulder blade kind of gives us all of this range of motion. Your shoulder is the most mobile joint in the entire body. But if you think about it, it's only attached right here at your shoulder blade, and all of that only has this one bony attachment at your clavicle. And so learning how to, you know, move the shoulder blade through retraction, protraction. A lot of people just have stuck shoulder blades, which that's going to affect your shoulder and your arm and into your chest. And so just kind of gently working in some different ways. Like I said, bringing that body awareness, kind of what's going on with my body? Am I able to do these things? And then working from there. So
I have learned so much on this live. I had no idea whatsoever. But, you know, again, I think for everyone who's going to watch this video at any point, you know, there isn't a perfect, right? I mean, it's really about starting where you are. If you have an injury, like right now, I've got some undiagnosed rotator cuff issue that I've got to work through. And so kind of knowing where those pain points are and then being able to use this as a tool to strengthen or stretch or really move through something.
Yeah. There's, you know, only an ideal body part that's that picture on a page. You know, in real life, we've all, by the time you get to this point, you know, in life you've been through, maybe if you could like have a little baby and have them live this perfect life with no injuries and no this and that, you know, but, you know, as far as we all have imbalances and one side of the body tends to be stronger than the other. And so, yeah, there's no perfect, and it's just kind of, you know, what's my body doing today? Sometimes we, you know, one day we might feel strong, the next day we might not feel as strong. And so just kind of where you are today and, you know, bringing that body awareness and, gentle introduction to all of these things. Because like I said, a lot of these terms, I definitely had never heard of it and was like, what are you talking about? My shoulder blade's not attached anywhere in my back. And you know, all of these things we don't even know about ourselves, but I think a great place to learn and just kind of, like I said, I hope women leave feeling, you know, just better, you know, you're moving your body, you're kind of, you know, hopefully with that group setting, creating that community and safe place for people to come and move and feel better when they leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so here at Forge, you know, for anyone who's going to be able to join us in person for the classes, you know, we've got your water and your snacks and your yoga mat, yoga block, kind of all of that. And so really it's just you showing up and again, meeting LeeAnn, meeting others who might be interested in the same thing, and taking that first step of what might end up being a really fun hobby for you, right? So maybe you want to become a Pilates instructor.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right, so the details, y'all. So this class is going to be on the second Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. All right, so the first one is going to be on Tuesday, September 13th at 6 p.m. Again, for in-person folks, it's going to be here at Forge. We'll make sure that you have the address. Come on by for that or drop by at any time to visit with us. But so we're going to be here for, you know, 5-6 people, I think is probably what we can fit in this space. So registration's limited for in-person. But if you can't come in person, but you still are interested in participating, maybe you live a little farther away and not going to be able to come to Forge but still want to benefit from it, you'll be able to register and we'll have a Zoom link for you. We'll make sure you get it before the class. You know exactly what to click and how to join. And so that'll be pointed on LeeAnn so you can follow along, you know exactly what to do. And we'll make sure, you know, that you don't feel left out, right, of not being here in person. You'll be included for sure. So we just published the registration today. Forge uses Eventbrite for our registration, so we're gonna, you know, share that on Forge's Facebook page. I believe that actually Meg may have posted it in this live, but so we'll share it on our Facebook. We'll put it on our website. It'll be coming out in our newsletter that I think will go out after Labor Day. But if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to us in whatever different outlets you would like, so that we can, answer any of those. One thing that would be helpful, right, in the registration for LeeAnn to know is just kind of what you have going on. Did you have surgery recently? Are you still in treatment, chemo, radiation? How long ago was that? What kind of range of motion issues are you experiencing, if any? We hope none. But if you are experiencing something in that registration, if you kind of add that information, that'll just be really helpful for LeeAnn kind of in the creation of what the class is going to do. Like if you need to be seated, right? Not everyone feels very comfortable, at least right now, to be able to lie down on the ground. So if we just know those kinds of things, oh yeah, I'm experiencing lymphedema, I need to be seated in a chair the whole time, and whatever it is, that'll just help us be sure that everything is ready for you to take advantage of the class. So that's all I got. That's all, folks. I don't see any questions, but again, if you have any, feel free to let us know. Drop us a line. You can email programs@forjon.org. And so that's one way that you can get in touch with us so that we can answer any of your questions. But LeeAnn, I want to say thank you. This has been a great,
Thank you for having me.
I think very useful, hopefully we'll make the idea of starting the class not so intimidating.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it should not feel intimidating at all. This should be, I would say, accessible for anybody to come and participate. So nothing, you're not going to leave here sweating and, like, oh my gosh, I just had the hardest workout. That's not what this is intended for. It's really, like I said, bringing that body awareness, feeling like, you just feel more open, a little bit more flexible, like you're a little more stretched out and feeling good, and then also bringing awareness onto the ways that we can kind of strengthen different parts of the body while we're stabilizing. And yeah, I think anybody and everybody will love it.
Everyone could use some spine work, I feel.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all for watching, and we hope that we see you at a class soon.
Yeah.